wanna take some time to thank you and let you know just how you make me proud. Good times make up for the bad ones. I see you trying and I don't know how. You keep up with me when you're working, switch your timing. When our schedules aren't aligning, that's a sign that it's okay to finally tell the world that you are more than enough, enough for me.
Hi, welcome to Flock Theory Podcast. I'm your host, Terry, and today we have Carl, the writer and producer of the movie Figure It Out. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
All right.
Yeah.
So we're going to get right to it. Carl,
Yes.
tell us a little bit about you and what got you started.
So pretty much it's a long story, but I would say when I was a younger kid, my mom and dad got me into martial arts. I started with martial arts. I did that for 6 years and got into a black belt. I did piano lessons too. I took a lot of classes on stuff. And then eventually I got into this dance team called Cav Kids. So y'all know the Scream team, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was a kid version of that, and I did Cav Kids at first, which was like amazing. Once I did that, and getting dancing and choreography, I got into All City Musical at Playhouse Square. That's a program that All City always does. And I did my first musical was Memphis. Once I did that, that helped me get into Cleveland School of the Arts. But I didn't go there for dance. I was mainly a dancer. I went there for theater. I got into Cleveland School of the Arts, and I got into theater. I did my first play, and I fell in love with acting ever since. So then my senior year, we get an opportunity to direct and write and act in our own plays and like produce them to like a really high level. So like as a young kid, I was introduced to the art and the craft to a high level early, if that makes sense. So after that, I went to LA for college for a full ride for acting for film at a school called Studio School. Maybe a month or two in, I got signed by a manager. I booked my very first audition, which was Insecure. So I'm on Insecure season 4, episode 5. After that, I kept doing more gigs, and then COVID happened. I came back home for COVID. That's when you saw the video started from there. How I created Figure It Out. I kept pushing on writing, directing, acting, producing, and I just kept growing rapidly from there. Yeah.
So how much of Figure It Out was about your life?
I would say that Figure It Out was a lot of the experience that I've seen, not just with myself, but a lot with my friends. And I would say that like from my life, it's only like bits and pieces of like who I am, what I've done, how I, heal from things, how do I learn from things. But, Figure It Out isn't like a lot like me, but you see bits of my personality and characters or moments of how I think and how I foresee things pretty much. So like, yeah, if that makes sense.
So how did you get the characters for your script?
Are you saying like the characters or the actors?
The actors.
The actors. So I mean, all the actors in the show is pretty much like my best friends. We grew up. We all graduated from Cleveland School of the Arts, and so whether the father, he was my teacher at some point at Cleveland School of the Arts, and then everybody else, like my peers, graduated the same year, a year above me or under me, and we always been close knit. And I'm like, man, our talent will literally blow everybody out the water. It's just that nobody knows. There's not a platform to kind of showcase that talent and that skill. So like, I wanted to make a show that because in COVID, All American was my favorite show at the time, and I just like how they had so many characters, so many storylines all in one. So I was just like, I want to replicate something like that, but in our own way, in our own voice, in Cleveland, and figure it out. And that's what I did with my best friends, because I always wanted to create a work environment that you can work with your friends professionally and with love. It's like it does exist. It's just sometimes it's either you work with randoms that you hate, but it's good, or you work with people that you love, but it ain't good because y'all playing around or people ain't, you know what I mean, whatever the case may be. So I created a world that both of them existed, if that makes sense. So yeah.
Well, I think the first season was pretty exceptional.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
are you working on the season 2?
Oh, absolutely. I'm definitely working on season 2. I'm just writing, getting things together, but I'm still marketing season 1. Like, one thing people got to realize is that once you put out a project, you have to be the one to push it out. You know what I mean? Nobody's gonna care, and that's the thing. Nobody care how good it is or how bad it is, right? You have to sell it. You know what I mean? And sometimes that takes time. There's so many angles that you can go from. So I'm taking my time to really get the most I can get out of season 1, because it was a 5-year process. You know what I mean? So like, I'm working on season 2, but I'm not doing season 2 the way I did season 1, which was great. Season 2 is going to be much, much better, but a lot more resources, because I already did everything. You know what I mean? The proof is in the pudding. So I already know there are plenty of people who will figure it out. You know what I mean? It's just got to figure out who, what, why, and when.
So why figure it out?
Why figure it out? Good question. Why I picked figure it out is because we're in a place, you know, in the world, and where I was at personally, is that everybody's trying to look like they have it figured out, knowing damn well they don't, right? And we're losing a sense of authenticity, a sense of understanding within themselves to then push the needle forward, you know? So a lot of people are, you know, like you already heard this saying before, it's a whole bunch of broken kid adults out here, or there's a bunch of people who want to chase the art but don't know what to do, how to do. It's all of these different things where it's just like, there isn't no right answer. But as long as you're willing to try to figure it out, to grow into it, that is the answer. You know what I mean? So I wanted to make figure it out, be like, oh, here's a mirror onto everybody's lives. This is something that we can relate to. This is something that is honest and not trying to be a show and be dramatic in your face. Like, it's not doing all of that. It's like really sitting down. We see two men talking about their emotions. We sit down, we really see this, and we see this. You know what I mean? So like, I wanted to really put that in there. And I was 19 years old at the time of making that and building into it and being wise at a young age, and realizing like young adults aren't really nurtured the way that they should, if that makes sense. Like, we see shows, whether it's in high school or we skip to them in 30s or they're in college, but it's like there are young adults out here who just got out here fresh, 19, 20, and trying to be like, okay, what are we doing in the world? So that's what I wanted to just show.
You spoke about getting it out there. Like, what are some of the things you've done so far?
So far, the things that I've done, so I have toured into high schools. When you do your project, you got to understand what your demographic audience is and who's the type of people who will love this show, who can relate, who can, you know, go into those things. So like high schools, I tour high schools. I've been to Cleveland Schoolyard, Shaker, John Adams. I've been to a lot of other schools and stuff like that. And also I have been promoting on social media, marketing and stuff like that, and trying to figure out which angle works. So I understand Instagram, the views and numbers is going good here, but then you try to do this. And then that's how that TikTok video went viral, is because I constantly keep shifting what's the angle. You can't keep posting the same thing over and over again and thinking that it's going to just work, because it wouldn't. No, it's just like, you got to keep this, we got to keep like workshopping it. So I've done that, pushed it out, sent blast emails, sent promotional, I hung up posters in barbershop, stores. Like, I've been just pushing it. But I got another plan to go even crazier, even outside of Ohio. I'm going to go do some HBCU tours and kind of go into colleges in different cities in Atlanta, this place and that place. Because yeah, this is my, and this is not even because I made it. I know that Figure It Out is probably one of the best independent projects out here that's ever been made in my age, ever. Not just in Ohio, but in this country. And I can confidently say that. And this is not me saying it because I made it. So it's about putting it in the right faces for the people to see that. If that makes sense, you know? So, yeah.
So what made you pick Tubi?
I feel like Tubi is a great starting place. You know, so it's independent. It's been growing in its own different ways, you know, since Fox bought it, and now it's going through all these changes. But it's, you know, the biggest platform that has, you know, free streaming, for Black film and stuff like that. It's kind of like one of the biggest platforms. So I just want to get there to collect, kind of see reactions, kind of see what we're doing, and then probably shift to the next that fits for Figure It Out more. You know what I mean? This ain't no dish to Tubi or anything like that, but Figure It Out isn't home there, if that makes sense. I see Figure It Out like a Peacock or some thriving one more so over there, but you know, you never know. But Tubi definitely is a great platform to start, or if your project thrives there, keep it there. But you just got to keep, figuring it out.
I think Tubi is a good place to land your plane, but I like the idea of Peacock. But have you thought about maybe like Tyler Perry or something like that?
Yes and no. Like, I'm always exploring, doing research, understanding what these platforms are and what they promote, right? And understanding what pocket of artists that I want to be, right? It's always a mixture of keeping your artist's integrity and the business, and find a way to meet it in the middle, right? I know Figure It Out isn't certain type of shows. I know Figure It Out ain't really like a Tyler Perry show, right? But I'm not dissing with Tyler Perry. It's great business-wise, but it's about figuring out what just meets you in the middle. You know, what platform that you want to be in, what direction, what do you want your show next to, right? I see Figure It Out next to Bel Air, next to All American. That's where Figure It Out is at. Figure It Out is not next to Beauty and the Black. You know what I mean? Those are two different shows, if that makes sense. So it's about being intentional. You have to be intentional, or else you're just out here wasting time, low key. So yeah.
So I feel like you have a great personality. I know that a lot of people will probably want to get on board and try to audition. Are you taking like new talent for your next season?
Yeah.
Or,
Absolutely. That's the main thing that I've been hearing. Like, when season 2, I want to audition, I want to be a part, I want to be a part, I want to be a part, which is great. I love it. Because 5 years ago, it was just little old me with nobody. You know what I mean? And now that things are great, now things are proven, now people want to be a part, it is good. But at the same time, you got to be careful with that and just intentional with that. And also, I am accepting new talent, cameos, whether it's a role or not, but like, I built this show off of new talent. Meaning that now I have to put experienced talent around this new talent. Does that make sense? You got to think, I'm putting a show out here with new faces. More people, most people say, I'm making a movie, I'm going to put, Cliff and Piles on this. So that automatically brings it all, you know what I mean? Whatever the case may be. So now I know Figure It Out has the potential to be like, all right, we got all this new talent, which is great. But now for this new role, let's add this, A-list, B-list actor, this, you know what I mean, with the show that already has so many new faces. It's an ensemble cast. It's like 12 actors in there. And my show isn't really like, oh, this is the main character and everybody kind of their own main characters.
They always good.
Yeah, so it's like, how do you keep building that and have new people be a part, if that makes sense. So I just...
So I saw in the movie that you were in the movie. So you wrote the movie, you produced the movie, you acted in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, that had to be pretty challenging.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It was very challenging. I mean, from, like I said, directing, writing, producing. I also edited the entire series. Like, I edited everything. I shot half of it, like with the camera. I picked up the camera, shot half of it. I edited all of it. We also scored the music. So all that music is really created, owned. We was in the studio. I told you I started with piano, but Jacob B. Johnson, he was a music composer. So me and him just bounce ideas back. He's a music genius. And so I'm so grateful to have somebody like him. And we figured it out. So like, I did everything. Then once it got done, still got to market. So I added all the content to this. It's always a evolving journey.
So if you could, talk to a group of people like in the beginning film industry right now, what are some tips you would give them as far as writing, producing, streaming, distribution? Because I know you had a little bit of a challenge with distribution.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say for new filmmakers is to figure out your identity, meaning, and why that's so important is because figure out the stories that you want to tell. Figure out how you want to tell them, who you want to tell them to, and I'll give you a sense of direction of like, what the people you want to work with, what type of script you want to write. That just gives you a sense of direction for new filmmakers. Because sometimes when you get caught up in so many other people's worlds, you tend to lose yourself and why you're doing it in the first place. Because you'll sit and be like, what the fuck am I? Right? And it's like, figure that out first before you get out there. Because it's good to get out there and learn, absolutely. But you can always pull yourself back and be like, all right, I can pull from this for what I need and what I want. So that's number one. And I'm still figuring out distribution and contracts and deals and upfront. And it's a lot that goes into it. And I would just say fall forward. I can't give you no direct answer because there isn't no direct answer. But what I can give you is a philosophy, a principle to work off of, which is fall forward, which is ask questions. Do not submit because you don't know said terminology. Ask what that should mean, and then don't go forward until you understand. No, everybody's working on your time. Don't be anxious. Don't be just, if I don't work, if I don't do this, I may not get that. I got that. You got to trust that you're going to get it. And understand, ask questions, and just work off of that philosophy. Don't work off of, there is no answer. There isn't no direct, everybody did it differently. So you just have to work off of you and ask questions and fall forward and work with others and all self-focus.
So Carl, you seem like you got a pretty good work ethic. How long did it take that entire process? Like after COVID, you're at home, you started working with your friends. How long did it take that process all the way to getting it streamed on TV?
So in total, it took 5 years to get it from starting to streaming. 2020, we started writing the script. Early 2021, we did our first pilot. I edited it together and I was like, it was good for what it was at the moment, but it was also bad. I love growth, criticism. I don't just put shit out there because I'm excited about it. It's like, no, it has to be good. It has to be the quality that I want it to be because, first impression is your best impression. You know what I mean? So for me, it was like, all right, this pilot is good for its right reasons and it's bad for these reasons. Let's rework it, go back to the drawing board, come back. When we did that, best decision I ever made. When I first did that, I did my first 3 episodes. Felt really good about them. Then we did our first premiere at Silver Spot, and we sold out in 24 hours, which was the craziest. Even to this day, I'd be like, oh, that's crazy, because I don't even know if I can do that now. Like, sell something out in 24 hours. So for that to be my first premiere, and it was like 119 seats. So it wasn't like 10 seats. It was like 119 and sold out in 24 hours was the craziest thing in the world. Still to this day. So that just gave me the motivation to keep going along, realizing that God put something special here. There's some gift here. It's something bigger than myself here. So that was like, oh yeah, I don't care how long this is going to take. I'm going to see this through. So that's what really made me be like, all right, bet. Had our first premieres. After that, I kept shooting more episodes. Then next year, I did a premiere at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which also sold out. And I did the first 6 episodes then. But I knew it was about 9 to 10 episodes in the whole season. After that, I finished the rest of the season. Then coming into 2023, that's when we was in the studio for like 6 months straight. Music. Just straight music, studio time, ADR, voiceover, anything that I missed, any extra scenes that I missed, or scenes I wanted to add or change, cut. I figured all that out. I finished the series about like 2023, like I was done with it. But then it was like, all right, distribution, like who do I? And I was booked. So another name in the game, leverage, meaning that I was still a working actor at the time. I was still working all of these other things. So I got booked for a SAG feature film in Atlanta. I was with Lance Gross, Wendy Raquel Robinson, like all of us was in it. I was one of the actors in it too. It's still not out yet. It's called Free. I don't know what they're doing today. I did that, and on set I met 2 other, because when I'm on set, like, yeah, I'm an actor, but I'm like, I got a whole lot of series. Like everywhere I'm at, I'm like telling who I am, you know what I mean? So it's like, oh, you got a whole series? We do distribution, I would love to. And I'm like, all right, bet. Like, let me just check it out. Like, I can't just jump to it first, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, I understand how business is. I'm like, let me get an attorney. Let me find an attorney for this, you know what I mean? Just look it over. And after a while, I found the attorney, and the attorney was like, hey, this is good, but it's also not good. And he broke down why it's not good, like in a non-biased way. I was like, dang, that's not the direction I want to go. And it turns out that he had his own distribution company too as well. And we connected from there. Then I had another premiere in Atlanta. in 2024, and it kind of took off from there. A lot of that also, that didn't sell out, but there was a lot of people there, and a lot of people who has resources. I'll say that a lot of people with resources was there. So and the one thing about why I say figure out your identity and create quality work is because wherever you take it, it's going to speak louder than wherever you're saying. Meaning that I already made a good show. So now I don't have to convince you that it's good. I know that it's good.
It's real good.
So I just have to put it in these people's faces to make sure I make the right decisions. Because sometimes when you don't do that, you will have to convince and put in it. Now you gotta do a whole bunch because the core work wasn't done. You didn't take your time with here because you wanted to get there so fast that you might mess yourself up later in the long run. So now that they seen the series, I was like, oh, this is amazing. You know what I mean? And I found distribution, and I got other plans, other films, a lot of other things that I would want in the direction of what I wanted. But I was patient. I kept working towards it. And then, as you know, but Tubi got bought by Fox. We had to redo this. And so it was just a long ass waiting period. And then finally, hey, we got the date, we got the time. Now we're streaming. That's how that went.
So where did you learn how to film and edit?
My friends. I asked questions. YouTube. I fell for it. I recorded shit and I hopped in there and I just did 1% a day, guys. Let me say this again. 1% a day. And a lot of people try to take on new things. It's so much harder when you just try to do it all at once. Why are you doing that? You're fucking yourself over. 1% a day. One step at a time. I just say, okay, timeline. Let me just figure out what this means. Oh, footage. This is what this. I just broke it down one at a time. Now, mind you, my other gifts can help my other gifts, meaning that I was an actor first. So when I'm editing, I understand pacing. I understand what it's going to sound, but not because I'm an editor. It's because I'm an actor. So I understand what it's supposed to look like. But let me just figure out how it is editing wise. And then now everything is working for each other, if that makes sense. So that's how I figured out. Camera, and if somebody knows something more than you, ask them. Ask them. Because more than 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you. They're not going to, and if they're gatekeeping, cool. Leave it to the next. They're not aligned with you. But most people who know something more than you, they don't have no reason to hurt you. So they're like, yeah, if you ask me a question, yeah, this like edit, yeah, I usually use this camera, I usually do this, and that's about it. And I just kept asking questions, and I just kept filming, figured out what I liked, figured out what I didn't like. Oh, this is a color love, this not, and I just learned from there. That's all I did. You know what I mean? So I didn't do nothing spectacular that the next person can't do. So it's just about doing it, and that's when people fall short. So, yeah.
Because it had really great sound. That's why I asked. So, my last question for you is, so you say you're going to travel, which I strongly suggest. It seems like people support you more outside of your own city, state, whatever. So, are you writing, are you getting grant money? Or, what are you doing to be able to fund the traveling? Yeah,
and that's what I'm figuring out now. It's trying to figure out getting grants, grant money, donations, because it's not like I'm selling a pipe dream at this point. You can go watch it for your damn self and see if it's good or not, worth it or not, for donation, for grant, for this, for that. Now it's about getting it to that next level. You know what I mean? So I'm just working on it, trying to figure it out day by day. So
is it a business? Is this set up like a business? Okay. I might have a few things for you.
Absolutely.
All right.
Okay. Yeah.
So I want to thank you for showing up. When I reached out to him on TikTok, he answered me right away. And even though I'm 2 months late on when we were supposed to meet, he still came through. So that says a lot about this young man. Absolutely. So I encourage you to go to Tubi right now and watch Figure It Out.
Season 1.
Yes.
9 episodes.
Yes.
Figure it out.
It's very good.
If you don't figure it out, you need to figure it out.
And you saw for yourself, he jumped right out there. And like he say, fell for it. We have to get out there and fall for it. Just go for it. Don't worry about not having this, that, and the other. Everything's going to work itself out at some point. So get out there and do your thing.
I got one more thing to say, too. This is another thing I've been exploring. Embarrassment is an underexplored emotion. Get out there and embarrass yourself. Y'all are trying to look too cool. We are all human. We are all understanding. Get out there and embarrass yourselves. Because if people are out there and embarrass themselves, best believe they're going to get the information because they're willing to embarrass themselves. It's an underexplored emotion. Nobody wants to be embarrassed. Nobody wants to look like they don't know something. So they're actually depriving themselves from actually what they need, from whatever God has given them, from whatever permission they need to get to the next step, whatever that may look like. So get out there and embarrass yourself. That's it.
Thank you.
World that you are more than